Imagine at one time each of these sat on a showroom floor and captured someone's heart. All this history erased forever. Today I've driven to CTC Auto Ranch here in Sanger, Texas, just north of Dallas. They've announced they're going to be crushing about 3,000 old cars, so I'm going to go see what I find. Crusher's been running for 6 days a week, and there's a lot that's already been gone. Now this place is right on I-35. It's actually more north of Fort Worth, but very good visibility. These hills stretch out, and from the interstate you can just about see almost all of what was here. And this place has been really a fixture in the old car community for decades here, and a lot of people just pretty dumbfounded and can't believe that it's going away, but that's the reality. The crusher's here. I'm gonna say, based on what guys have told me before I came here, that they're well past the halfway point. I wanted to get down here sooner, but just was tied up with a lot of things at home. Although I'm sure with 3,000 cars, there's still a lot left out here. There's a load of classics headed out right now as we speak, off to the great junkyard in the sky to be gone forever. So as these guys have wound down toward retirement, they've got a 3-day work week now, which is Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays. I'm here on a Wednesday at noon, so I've got a day and a half to pick and sort through and decide what I'm taking out of here in one load. And even with thousands of cars already gone, it's going to be overwhelming to pick through, but I got to do it. See, there's still a lot of whole cars, loose parts. Now, out on the racks, there's hoods, fenders, bumpers, doors, and they're literally just pulling them off with the loader and stacking them, putting them inside the cars. They're tearing the roofs off the vans. From what I've seen in pictures online, 66 Impala here, Bel Air, whatever. Roofs ripped open, filled up with rear ends. The stuff's just going away. Now, a lot of people said these guys were high priced, and from what I heard, that's probably true. But when you look at these cars, there's a lot of them that are parted way down. So as hard as this stuff is to find, they were still selling a really pretty big volume. Unfortunately though, a lot of what's here still would have been usable to people. These 60s GM cars, they do make a lot of stuff for them in new reproduction, aftermarket stuff, but yet at the same time, there's still used parts that are necessary, that there's a call for. Each one of these cars reached the end of its road, and now it's time for the junkyard to be at the end of its road as well. Every one in this stack one time was someone's pride and joy. Imagine at one time each of these sat on a showroom floor and captured someone's heart. They took it home and fell in love with it. They'll be trucked out of here, and next step is the shredder. They'll be torn to pieces, then recycled and turned into whatever new products they become. Now the brothers are aged 68 and 71, so just was time to retire. The land's worth a lot, and the price of scrap iron is up right now, over $200 a ton. So there's just a lot of factors that brought it to this point. There's three 1970s Datsun Z cars, all crushed into one bundle. Used to be totally full of cars in here. Now it's getting quickly emptied out. Section of 1964, 65, and 66 full-size Chevrolets. A lot of what's in here, especially some of this station wagon specific parts, never be reproduced. So what's available for people restoring any of those only has to come used from a salvage car, and by the time you're watching this, these will all be gone. Here's some that are sad to lose. Dodge A100 van and this old 67 to 72 Chevy Suburban with that clamshell tailgate. '72 Plymouth Fury C-body custom suburban wagon. It's kind of a rare car. Then some mid-70s B-bodies, Satellite and Coronet. '60s Mopar B bodies and A bodies. Good grief. 50 Dodge or Plymouth convertible. Several of these 1960 Dodges, two-door hardtops even. 54 Plymouth, another convertible. '61 and '62 Chevrolets. Again, a lot pillaged off of them, but still a lot of stuff left. I've got a '62 that's a factory air car, and I'm hoping down here in Texas there's a good chance a lot of these are factory AC cars, because I'm needing an evaporator box. Several mid-size Buicks over in this section. Now I don't have a lot of time here, so my strategy is going to be to pick loose panels, because I'm not going to be spending any time to pull them off a car. So I'm going to dig through and look and see if there's anything that's usable to me in these. A few Valiants and some early Barracudas in this section. Now the cars out here marked with red X's actually mean that they're getting saved. So the X's to tell the crusher, don't grab this and smash it. 37 DeSoto over here with the Buicks. I'll definitely be grabbing the rear bumper off that one. 50s and 60s Buicks. Most all of what you see is 1 year only parts on these. Just fixing to be crushed and gone away forever. '64 LeSabre, '61. This is an intermediate Ford row. Lots of Fairlanes. There's the 50s Buicks. Pretty sad sight, isn't it?
Sad. Oh, hey, Tim. How are you? How are you? This is very upsetting.
Yeah,
Very
it
upsetting.
is.
Look at all the parts still left on this.
Yep. A lot to go to waste.
It's terrible. What are you after?
Oh, I just kind of came to look. Later than I should have. The old Chevy 2s, Thunderbirds, Edsels. A lot of dying breeds going away. Grand Prix and Regals. There's 60s Fords and Mercuries in here. Each one of these is a historical artifact of our country's transportation history that's now been erased. One of our friends the other day was just asking for a Packard grill, but he won't be getting it from here. Just thought stuff like this happened in the past, but it's happening today in 2025. All this history erased forever. This was a 1941 Cadillac. Wasted. Some GMA body cars of the 60s, Chevelles and El Caminos. There you've got the T-Bird rows. You can see there's a lot of stuff left on these, but they're also just very picked and very pillaged. Really a shame to see this stuff go, but at the same time, understand the brothers are 68 and 71, and it just comes time to retire. Several of these 73 to 7 GMA body cars, just really stripped out stuff. I mean, sure, you're gonna have probably some requests, but at the same time, there's just a lot that's still gotta be probably bought somewhere else, because this stuff is just so rough and so rusty. There's 68 Chevys. Way down in that corner is all the AMCs, a bunch of Pacers, Hornets, 80s Chevelle and El Camino Malibus. Over on this side, bunch of these 71 to 6 Caprice and Impalas. Again, really stripped out stuff. There you can see still some things left to give, and then still just a lot picked. I've looked around, I've shopped. There's not really a huge amount that I would want to pull out of here whole. The crusher guys are moving really, really fast. They've got the 2 crushers. And there's just constant semis going in and out of here. They've only been going probably less than 2 weeks. And to get a whole yard emptied like this, going really quick. So I've searched, and this 76 Caprice, I think between a couple of these other cars, I can piece together the whole thing, and it'll be good enough for a derby car. Not what I'm really into, but at the same time, that's where there's a lot of interest and a lot of foolish money, in my opinion, chasing some of these. And so for me personally, in a financial sense, it's what's the most practical to haul out of here. And so that's where I'm headed. So this is the load from CTC. As I said there in the footage from the place, I chose a 76 Caprice, 4-door sedan. Now this car in the yard was missing the doors and the front clip, so I shot him a price for all the major panels to make the car complete off a couple others that were sitting there. Loaded it up. This car is totally full in the inside of all kinds of header panels and body trim, some interior moldings. So this car, hopefully, for the $1,000 I paid for it, hopefully should do that back just out of the trim parts and the other little pieces. Then the rest of the car probably get traded away or possibly sold for a derby car shell. I've had a guy that's traded me several vehicles, and he's waiting on my trade, which could potentially be this car. So down in the video description box, I'll make sure to mark the availability of it. I know there's probably a lot of Derby guys that watch the channel that are going to be wanting to know about it. On top there is a 74 Caprice front clip, and then there's a 75 and 76 passenger front fender. There's a 72 fender, and then a 74 driver's front fender to make the clip that's on this car complete. Now, as I pulled away and was loading all this stuff in front of the place there at the junkyard, the owner looked at me and he said, "This looks like an accident waiting to happen." And I didn't tell him it was going to be later on at a county fair. So against his fears, the load actually made it here. I didn't lose anything. It all stayed together, stayed strapped, and made it here to Kansas. I did pick out some hoods. The red one is a 77 to 79 Chevy Caprice and Impala. There's a blue and a white that are 80 to 90 Caprice. There's a brown 85 Cutlass in there. That's one I'm really glad to have, because all of my Cutlasses, they've got something wrong with the hoods on each one of them. So I finally was able to get a good one down there in Texas. Got a 59 Chevy hood. It's not super great, but it'll patch. A good hood for one of those is really hard to come by, and so anybody that needs one, they'll take one that needs a little bit of work just because they're so hard to find. Then in the back, there's a couple more 71, 2, 3, 4, something like that, Chevy full-size Caprice and Impala hoods. Then along here is the haul of parts. Like I said there in the video, I mainly stuck to the stuff that was already removed and loose. That way I didn't have a lot of time tied up in pulling parts. 67 Buick Electra rear seat. I've actually got one of these cars that for some reason the back seat is missing out of, so I was really glad to have that. He asked $100 for it, and it was just kind of hard to negotiate with the guys because they didn't really care if you bought it or if it went in the scrapper. Although something like that, once it's shredded, probably pennies. But it is what it is. It's their stuff to price, and I still got a van load. I was in probably really a bigger buy-in than I would have otherwise hoped, but still this stuff is really hard to find, and you're just not going to turn it up every day. So before the crusher came, that was my choice to pull the parts and get this stuff before it all went away. 59 Chevy core support. It's decent, not perfect. Grill, just mainly got that for the bullets. Really nice driver's fender. 67 Impala core support. Driver's fender. Pretty good front bumper. This is a 7456 Caprice and Impala back bumper. There's a 57 and 58 Plymouth hood. Several more of these 71, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Chevy fenders and inner fenders. There is a whole bunch of 71 little grill filler panels there. I was able to get 74 and 5 front bumper. It's just the front skin, but over on the other side I've got a nose somebody else chopped off of one that be kind of a unique wall hanger, so that bumper skin will go with it. 30s bumpers, I'm not sure what that top one is. I think maybe some sort of old truck. And then the bottom one is a 37 DeSoto. That's for the rear. I actually pulled that off the car. How many other places can you go and still pull something like that off of a car that old? It was CTC, and now I don't know where you'd do it, because that place is totally gone. Out at Joe's place, he has a 37 DeSoto parts car, and he has a front bumper for it, so I'll give this one to him. He'll have a matching pair. So any 37 DeSoto guys, we've got those and a little bit of extra parts on that carcass of the car. 71 Impala rear bumper. Not perfect, but pretty good shape. Still got a good shine to it. 73 Impala header panel. And then this trunk lid, I believe, is a 70 Dodge Coronet. If that's wrong, I'll amend it here in the video. But these were like 875 new. And this one has just a few pinholes, but it's really straight. It's a good original Mopar part from the factory. So for anybody that's wanting something good original, I've got that available. I have a couple 69 and 70 Coronet lids also, if anybody's looking for something like that. 59 Chevy front bumper. Some more Impala front fenders, 72 and 3, I think. And then the 67 Caprice four-door rear door. They had a whole entire complete 67 four-door that was totally cut apart, and every piece of that car was sold except for this door and a front fender that was kind of crunched. And so you look at that, and it's just really kind of a sad deal, because probably almost every car that was there, if it was still around and left lay to be parted the rest of the way, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that still would have been sold off a lot of those cars. But it's the brothers' decision. I know that land is worth a lot. Scrap is up, and they were ready to retire. They told me they had priced the place, but nobody's really going to be a taker at approximately $3 million range, I think was the ask. Don't quote me on that. But who's going to really step up when, granted, realistically, a lot of the cream was gone off the cars, but what's there? I mean, if somebody's going to invest $3 million in a deal like that, the people that have $3 million to invest probably are going to do it in a lot passive of a type of investment than a junkyard. As a guy that's nearing 40 years old here in just a couple months, I can tell you this is a very physically demanding, grueling profession. And to be in the shape that those guys were in at 68 and 70 is really a testament to how they took care of their bodies, because, man, I don't think I'll be in that good a shape at that age. I want to thank everybody for watching the video. If you liked it, leave a like. If you comment, let us know what you think. Was it right, wrong? Did I make the right decisions? Should I have made a second trip back? Should I have come sooner? Let me know if you've got a memory of an old junkyard that went away that is no more. Again, thank everyone for stopping by the channel, and we'll see you on the next video.